Hey, what's up? I'm Unknown Shadow, and welcome to Unknown Overland. So what are we doing this week? I think we should talk about Jeep Grand Cherokee roof racks, namely because that's what I was working on last. In the whole Grand Cherokee line, well, actually with just about everything, there's too many options, especially with roof racks. The Jeep Grand Cherokee has like these false mounting bars. They're just plastic and they don't really do anything. And so with that, then you know, do you want the crossover bars? Do you want to go for something like a full rack? If you go for a full rack, who do you get the rack from? Blah, blah, blah. And I was doing a little bit of different research. I had found some options from Off-Road Animal. I had seen some from Chief Products. And the main reason I went with the Chief Products option is because not only does it seem to have a nice sturdy mount that not only mounts on the actual roof, but also kind of puts a little bit of the weight into the windowsill itself, kind of load distributes a bit. But then also it gives you the option of either having the full rack or just putting on small, like some sections of slat. You can buy it to suit kind of what you need. So you can get like the bare bones, which I think is like 2 slats, or you can do the Overland edition, which is like a couple of slats, or you can do a rooftop tent version, which gives you a couple of slats and like the connections for the rooftop tent. Ultimately, I went ahead and chose like the full roof rack. The main reason for that is then it gives me the option of, now I have the whole thing, I can do what I need to with the whole thing. Or in those moments where I'm like, I only want a couple slats, I can take off parts of it and just kind of build it up or tear it down as much as I need, which is quite handy. The install itself was actually quite easy. It was just time consuming, very time consuming. And namely because like everything, there's just so many little, like there's just so many bolts to put on to kind of keep everything evened out. I will say that it was extremely well manufactured. I mean, the tolerances and everything, when you kind of put everything together, it does a good job of kind of cinching itself into a square very easily. So, you know, other than the fact that it just took a while to put all the bolts on, it was really nice. I know for the Off-Road Animal option, like they ask you whether or not you have the raised Nutserts or the flush Nutserts. On my 2021, I have flush. For the Chief Products, it's not required. They do it slightly different. They have these little brackets that go on, brackets with some slats, you know, so that it can kind of raise and lower and kind of fit what your roof particularly needs. So you take off the plastic, you mount the little brackets. They do mention in the instructions putting on blue Loctite on some of them, and then using the f is that stuff called? And using anti-seize on the others to kind of help prevent some corrosion over time. And then mounting all those brackets, and then it's just building up. So then it's putting on the rails themselves, lining those up, and then building up the overall structure of the actual rack. And then, you know, it's just piece by piece by piece, you're kind of building this rack on top of the car, not cinching anything down until the very end, of course, so that everything has a chance to kind of get into where it needs to go. No real main problems. Some of the, you know, getting in and tightening down some of the smaller sections, like there isn't much room getting into the brackets and tightening those down. You have to kind of like, you gotta work your wrench in there, you know, and kind of figure out how to sneak it in there into different ways. So kind of watch out for that. For the slats, there is a rubber pad that goes underneath the slats, and then, you know, a bracket on the bottom of them that has the 2 nuts, and then the bolts kind of go through. Or is it bolts, nuts, and then bolts? I don't remember which one. And really, you know, making sure that you don't tighten down one side and not the, like, keep both sides loose on the planks until you kind of have everything lined up and everything in place, and then tighten it down, just because you might have to lift it up a bit so you can get the rubber pad underneath it. You know, the instructions were easy to follow, everything was easy to put together. No problems at all on that, and it's very solid. I know that one of the biggest reasons when you're putting a roof rack on or anything under the roof of the car is how much extra noise are you going to actually be incurring. I mean, you're putting a big piece of metal on top of the roof, so Hopefully you're not screwing everything up. I know people also worry about gas mileage and stuff, but I can't really talk about that yet. At least with the Chief products one that I have, you know, as long as you put everything and you follow the instructions, it seems to do a good job. There's a wind channel that's up in the near front of it. You have to push that as far forward as it can go. And then the two side rails, they have you actually kind of align it such that they're at kind of an angle towards the front. So the front part of it, you know, pushing those together as hard as possible, and the back side pushing them as far apart as possible. It's a little confusing in the instructions, but really once you kind of put like the first set of slats on, you'll notice that it's very easy to kind of, it makes a little more sense once those are on there. And once that's on there, you know, the only thing that I've noticed is that like specifically 24 miles an hour, like I get a weird whistle, but then like as soon as I'm above or below 24, it actually goes away. There is a bit of wind noise at upper speeds, but you have a big hunk of metal up there. It's to be expected. It's not actually that bad at all. It's very, you know, it's barely noticeable, especially compared to some other vehicles that I've had. Because I'm running, you know, an actual Gazelle tent and not a rooftop tent, at the moment, you know, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to put up there. I have my kind of like my water system that I'm going to be putting up there, max tracks, and those kinds of things. I'm also contemplating how much more like just storage stuff I can put up there compared to just taking up a room inside the vehicle. But you know, I'll figure that out, and we'll see how that goes once camping starts kicking back in. But otherwise, very happy with it. It's nice and solidly built. It goes up there very easily. It just takes some time to do the work. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully you found something in this video that you liked. If you did, you know, like, subscribe, comment, do those things if you like to do those things. But in the meantime, hopefully you're having a good day. Thanks for watching. Bye.